No questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my wife pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
That's good to know.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 6797 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
Ayer no tenía comida y la niña estaba mal. Lloró. Estábamos tristes.
All over the world, millions of children like Fatun, Leolida and Monica are going hungry because of conflict, displacement and extreme weather. We urgently need your help to fight acute hunger and malnutrition. Please search Save the Children or visit savethechildren.org.uk to give £5 a month. You can help give hungry families life-saving food and provide malnourished children the treatment they need to recover. Please, donate today.
Because your kid's wizard obsession doesn't work on broken boilers, there's short-term loans from £50 to £1,500 from lendingstream.co.uk.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Bingo lovers, it's time for a close encounter with Bingo Aliens. Visit bingoaliens.com/bingo for a cosmic range of bingo games. 75-ball bingo, even 90-ball bingo. All from a galaxy far away, direct to you. Taking bingo to another dimension at bingoaliens.com/bingo.
If you won't do it for you, do it for your grandchild, who's mad you didn't hear her joke.
Book a free hearing test at bootshearingcare.com.
This is NDTV, and you're watching NDTV 24/7.
Namaste, hello, and welcome to the World Report. I am Priyanka Deo. Our top story of the day, U.S. President Donald Trump stated that India is working on a trade deal along the same lines as the one he announced with Indonesia, which will provide the U.S. with greater access to the Indian market. Now, under the deal with Jakarta, there will be a 19% tariff on imports into the U.S., but none on exports from the U.S. to Indonesia. This is what he told reporters in Washington on Tuesday. Negotiators from India and the U.S. are working to reach a deal before the August 1st deadline that Trump has set for making deals or face arbitrary tariffs.
So we made a deal with Indonesia. I spoke to their really great president, very popular, very strong, smart, and we made the deal. We have full access to Indonesia, everything. As you know, Indonesia is very strong on copper, but we have full access to everything. We will pay no tariffs. So they are giving us access into Indonesia, which we never had. That's probably the biggest part of the deal. India basically is working along that same line. We're going to have access into India. And you have to understand, we had no access into any of these countries. Our people couldn't go in. and now we're getting access because of what we're doing with the tariffs. So they're paying 19%, and we are not paying anything.
NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte warned on Wednesday that countries such as Brazil, China, and India could be hit very hard by secondary sanctions if they continue to do business with Russia. Rutte made the comment while meeting with senators in the U.S. Congress the day after President Donald Trump announced new weapons for Ukraine and threatened biting, and I quote, biting secondary tariffs off 100% on the buyers of Russian exports unless there is a peace deal in 50 days. Russia and
slam secondary sanctions on countries like India, China and Brazil. So my encouragement to these three countries particularly is, if you live now in Beijing or in Delhi, or you are the president of Brazil, you might want to take a look into this, because this might hit you very hard. So please make the phone call to Vladimir Putin and tell him that he has to get serious about peace talks, because otherwise this will slam back on Brazil, on India and on China in a massive way.
Russia and Ukraine continued to trade strikes as Russia struck Ukrainian military facilities, while Kyiv downed 178 Russian drones. Russia's defense ministry said that its forces struck Ukrainian positions across Sumy, Kharkiv, and Donetsk regions over the past 24 hours, destroying several electronic warfare stations, radar installations, as well as ammunition depots. On the same day, Ukraine armed forces claimed in a battle report that their forces had struck 11 Russian troops and equipment concentrations over the past day. Ukraine's Air Force reported shooting down 178 of the 267 Russian-launched drones since Monday. Now, Ukraine's parliament on Tuesday voted to extend marital law and mobilization until November 5th and temporarily suspend the country's participation in the Ottawa Convention, an international treaty that prohibits the use of anti-personnel landmines. U.S. President Donald Trump has revealed that it was First Lady Melania Trump who influenced his opinions about Russian President Vladimir Putin. During a White House meeting, Trump informed that it was his wife who provided a harshly critical response to his previous perceptions of the Kremlin leader and his war in Ukraine, triggering the shift in Washington's position and ramping up pressure on Moscow. This report breaks down the details.
From once vocal admirers to now warring leaders, the Trump-Putin bonhomie has taken a turn for the worse. As the Russia-Ukraine war grinds on with no end in sight, beyond the politics, it seems one person quietly pulled the string that changed Trump's stance on the Russian president, triggering Washington's U-turn, none other than First Lady Melania Trump. The US president revealed that it was the First Lady who called out Putin's false promises after numerous phone calls with Trump on ending the war in Ukraine, influencing the US president's perception.
My conversations with him are always very pleasant. I say, isn't that a very lovely conversation? And then the missiles go off that night. I go home, I tell the First Lady, and I spoke to Vladimir today. We had a wonderful conversation. She said, oh, really? Another city was just hit.
Slovenian-born Melania Trump grew up in the former Yugoslavia and has always been a vocal supporter of Ukraine. While Trump has been skeptical of the Ukrainian leader, as seen evidently in the fiery Trump-Zelensky clash at the Oval Office earlier this year. While Trump has often accused Zelensky of starting the war, Melania has pushed for greater aid for Ukraine in the early days of the war. Melania met the Russian president on numerous occasions during Trump's first term, yet has been skeptical of the leader, even reminding US President Trump of the rising human toll in prolonged Ukraine war. Hailing Melania as Washington's secret weapon against Russia, Kyiv is celebrating the First Lady with meme galore, dubbing her agent Melanie Trumpenko, hinting that she's secretly working for Ukraine within the White House. Memes aside, it seems the quiet yet ever well-presented First Lady is now wading into foreign policy with the year of the most powerful man on the international stage, Donald Trump. Will it be the First Lady, not the US President, who will finally end the Russia-Ukraine war? Disha Bakshi for NDTV.
Court documents have revealed that the UK set up a secret scheme to relocate thousands of Afghans to the UK after a soldier accidentally disclosed the personal details of more than 33,000 people, putting them at risk of reprisals from the Taliban. A May 2024 judgment made public for the first time on Tuesday revealed that about 20,000 people may have to be offered relocation to Britain, a move that would likely cost several billion pounds. The government is also facing lawsuits from those affected by the breach, further adding to the ultimate cost of the incident. Listen in to what the UK Defence Secretary has to say.
Mr. Speaker, this serious data incident should never have happened. It may have occurred 3 years ago under the previous government, but to all those whose information was compromised, I offer a sincere apology today on behalf of the British government. And the full number of Afghan arrivals under all schemes have been reported in the regular Home Office statistics, meaning that they are already counted in the existing migration figures.
The man who allegedly rammed his car into 114-year-old marathon runner Fauja Singh on the Jalandhar-Pathankot highway has been arrested. Amritpal Singh Dhillon, a 30-year-old non-resident Indian or NRI, was arrested 2 days after Singh, popularly known as Turbaned Tornado, suffered head injuries in a hit-and-run accident while he was crossing the road at his native village near Jalandhar in Punjab. Singh was taken to the hospital where he later died. A Punjab-registered Toyota Fortuner, which was allegedly involved in the hit-and-run on Monday, has also been seized.
हमको कोई नहीं पता है इसके बारे है ना अभी कोई हमको इन्फॉर्मेशन नहीं दी किसी ने नहीं पुलिस जब जे किसी ने फड़ना होवे तो एकदम फड़ सकदी जे तो पीछे पै जवे सब कुछ है उन्हां को क्लू हुंदे आ पर चलो बहुत बढ़िया पुलिस दा काम मैंने पता सीगा जदा भी श्योर आ असीं तां क्या सीगा चलो बापू बच जांदे बापू हुणां दा कोई जी असीं तां कार्रवाई नहीं कराउणी सी चलो कोई गल नहीं ਤੇ ਪਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਸੀ ਵੀ ਚਲੋ ਲੱਗੀ ਆ ਤੇ ਖੜਾ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਉਹਦਾ ਵੀ ਕਸੂਰ ਚਲੋ ਜੋ ਕੁਛ ਕੋਈ ਦੁਸ਼ਮਣੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੀ ਪਰ ਗਲਤੀ ਕਰ ਬੈਠਾ ਵੀ ਤੂੰ ਚੱਲ ਦੌੜਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਗਿਆ ਹਨਾ
The premier of the Canadian province of Alberta has urged the federal government to designate the notorious Lawrence Bishnoi gang a terrorist organization, joining a string of leaders to make such a request. Now, in a post on X on Monday, Daniel Smith pointed out that the gang's outreach, its global and its intent is criminal and violent, and its activities, and I quote, knows no boundaries and respects no borders. Satyajit Ray's ancestral home in Bangladesh, formerly used as the Mymensingh Shishu Academy, is being demolished by the Bangladesh government to build a new semi-concrete structure. After the news came to light, the government of India extended its cooperation to the Bangladesh government to repair and restore the ancestral property. The execution of Nimisha Priya has been postponed, with hectic parleys underway in Yemen in a last-ditch effort to save the nurse from Kerala who was sentenced to death by local authorities for killing a man who was harassing her. Priya's execution was scheduled for today, but it has now emerged that the murdered man's family has been convinced to postpone it until further notice. However, this does not mean she would be released or sent back to India. She's currently in Sana'a, the Houthi-held capital of Yemen. India does not have any diplomatic relations with the Houthi rebels.
यमन में एक कत्ल हुआ वो कत्ल के बाद कोर्ट में जाके केस हुआ वो केस में एक औरत का नाम है निमिषा प्रिया वो नॉन मुस्लिम है वो या उसको कत्ल करने का हुक्म हुआ है वहाँ का उलमा से बोल दिया इस्लाम में कत्ल के बजाय दियत देना कवद देना ये भी है.
At the Shanghai Cooperation Organization's Foreign Ministers meeting in China, External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar made it clear that the fight against terrorism must be non-negotiable. Citing the April 22nd Pahalgam attack, where 26 civilians were targeted and killed, Jaishankar said the assault was aimed at derailing Kashmir's fragile tourism economy and sowing religious discord. With foreign ministers from across the region present, including Pakistan, Jaishankar did not hold back. He urged SCO countries to act together and bring those responsible to justice. His message could not be clearer. The SCO was built to fight terrorism, separatism, and extremism. It must now live up to that purpose. This all comes before world leaders, including Prime Minister Modi, gather in Tianjin for the SCO summit. In a fresh twist in Pakistani politics, Reham Khan, journalist and ex-wife of former PM Imran Khan, has announced the launch of her own political party called Pakistan Republic Party, marking her formal entry into politics. Reham said the party would act as the people's voice and would hold the ruling elite accountable. She also added that her new party is a response to the growing dissatisfaction with the current political environment in Pakistan. The Pentagon is ending the deployment of 2,000 National Guard troops in Los Angeles, accounting for nearly half of the soldiers sent to the city to deal with protests over the Trump administration's immigration crackdown. Roughly 4,000 National Guard soldiers and 700 Marines have been in the city since early June. It wasn't immediately clear what prompted the 60-day deployment to end suddenly, nor was it immediately clear how long the rest of the troops would stay in the region. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass claimed the removal of troops as a victory for the state. Listen in.
I am here to say that we've had an important victory. I think because Los Angeles stood strong, because we understood what it meant that the federal government came in and seized power away from our governor regarding the deployment of the National Guard, and inappropriately sent the National Guard here when they were not needed. The administration has finally understood that they need to withdraw the troops. Let me say that this is what happens when the city stands strong, because we have been united. When people peacefully protest, when people raise the concerns about having National Guard, in a situation where they were, as far as I'm concerned, used as props.
Donald Trump is calling on the Justice Department to release all credible files related to Jeffrey Epstein, but says the final call rests with the Attorney General Pam Bondi. Speaking at the White House Tuesday, Trump said Bondi has handled it very well, but repeated his claim that many of the Epstein files were made up by Democrats. That's a shift from his campaign trail promises to probably release everything. Trump is now facing rare backlash from his own base. Some MAGA supporters accuse the administration of covering up key details to protect powerful elites. Even top Republicans like House Speaker Mike Johnson and Trump's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, are demanding more transparency.
The Attorney General's handled that very well. She's really done a very good job. She's given us just a very quick briefing, and in terms of the credibility of the different things that they've seen. And I would say that, these files were made up by Comey, they were made up by Obama, they were made up by the Biden.
A federal grand jury indicted a man on charges that he fatally shot a prominent Minnesota state representative and her husband, and seriously wounded a state senator and his wife while he was allegedly disguised as a police officer. Vance Bolter, who is accused of shooting dead Democrat Melissa Hortman and her husband, Mark, while disguised as a police officer, was indicted by a federal grand jury. He could face the death penalty if convicted. Minnesota abolished its state death penalty in 1911, but President Donald Trump's administration says it intends to be aggressive in seeking capital punishment for eligible federal crimes. Listen in.
We are here today to announce that a federal grand jury has returned a 6-count indictment against Vance Belter. Now, this indictment includes a notice of special findings. These special findings are the first step towards seeking the death penalty against defendant Vance Belter. The ultimate decision as to whether to seek the death penalty will not come for several months and will ultimately be decided by Attorney General Bondi with input from the Capital Case Unit in the Department of Justice, along with this office and the victims.
The United Nations Special Rapporteur for Gaza and the West Bank has demanded nations around the world to take concrete actions to stop what she called the genocide in Gaza. Speaking at a two-day conference organized by the governments of Colombia and South Africa, Francesca Albanese spoke to delegates from 30 countries in Colombia's capital to discuss the Israel-Hamas war. However, it remains to be whether the conference's participating countries have enough leverage over Israel to force it to change its policies in Gaza, where more than 58,000 people have been killed in Israeli military operations following a deadly Hamas attack on Israel back in 2023. Listen in.
Each state must immediately review and suspend all ties with the State of Israel. Military, strategic, political, diplomatic, economic relations, both imports and exports, and to make sure that their private sectors, insurers, banks, pension funds, universities, and other goods and service providers in the supply chain do the same.
I do believe that the US is totally complicit with whatever Israel is doing, but to the point that with the new administration, even the forced displacement of the Palestinians, which has occurred for decades under the watch of everyone.
Flash floods have hit major cities across northeastern United States, causing travel chaos and road closures. In New Jersey, 2 were killed after their vehicle was swept up in floodwaters during a storm. Viral videos posted online showed water flooding down into one Manhattan subway station, submerging the platform while passengers inside a train watched on. City officials said their vulnerable sewer system worked as well as it could, but it simply was not built to handle that much rain. It's time we slip into a short break. Stay tuned.
Your personalized car insurance deals from Auto Sergei, already done for you.
Simples.
Just make it simples with Compare the Market.
At Cheerios, we know mornings can be challenging. So having a delicious breakfast that's high in fibre from oats, wheat and barley, that's a little win. Cheerios, little O's make little wins.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, you seem half the town.
Book an appointment today.
On to our next story. After the U.S. lifted export curbs on chips, American chip-making giant NVIDIA says it plans to resume sales to China of an artificial intelligence chip that's become part of a global race pitting the world's biggest economies against each other. The company's announcement on Monday comes after NVIDIA CEO Jensen Huang met with President Donald Trump at the White House last week. Huang has argued that restricting sales of American technology to China could put the U.S. position as a global leader at risk. Listen in.
So we will start to sell H20s to the Chinese market, and I'm looking forward to shipping H20s very soon. And so I'm very happy with that very, very good news.
In a significant development following the global controversy over Prada's Kolhapuri-inspired sandals, a high-level team from the luxury fashion house has arrived in Kolhapur to initiate groundwork for a potential collaboration with local artisans. This is the first of a two-part visit by the brand, which had come under fire last month for showcasing sandals that closely resembled the Kolhapuris at the Milan Spring-Summer 2026 show without acknowledging the craft's origins or India's artisan community. The first team visited the Jawaharnagar area known for producing traditional Kolhapuri footwear and interacted with local artisans.
आज प्राड़ा की टीम आई थी जिसमें उनके 5 लोग आए थे टेक्निकल टीम से और उन्होंने बहुत सारी हमारे कोल्हापुरी चप्पल की डिजाइन्स देखी। हमारे कोल्हापुरी चप्पल कैसी बनती है वो भी हमने दिखाया। हमारे जो कुशल कारीगरी है उन्होंने सब दिखाया कि चप्पल हम कैसे बनाते हैं, कैसे सिलाई करते हैं। तो उनके पैर में पहनाने के बाद उनको वो अच्छी लगी और उन्होंने वो एक चप्पल खरीदी भी। और हमारी यही अपेक्षा है कि जब भी आगे काम चलेगा तो प्राड़ा हमारे कोल्हापुर से वो चप्पलें खरीदें और उनके प्राड़ा शोरूम पे वो सेल करें और कोल्हापुर का नाम हमारे जग भर में जाए।
The medals for next year's Olympic and Paralympic Winter Games in Milano Cortina were revealed in Venice on Tuesday. 2 Italian sporting greats accompanied the medals by boat on their journey to the grand unveiling at the historic Palazzo Balbi on the Grand Canal. Federica Pellegrini is a double Olympic medalist and Italy's most successful swimmer. Francesca Porcelato won 15 Paralympic medals after participating in 13 summer and winter games. According to the Olympic organization, the medals feature a unique design that combines 2 halves that symbolize the culmination of the athlete's journey and all those who have walked beside them along the way. Adolescence has picked up 13 nominations at the Emmys. It's a lot of love for the 4-part British Netflix drama that has created an impact beyond the small screen. Created by star Stephen Graham and writer Jack Thorne, it has picked up acting nominations for everyone in key roles. Owen Cooper, who plays the teen at the heart of the drama, Christine Tremarco, Erin Doherty, and Ashley Walters are all in the running as well for a trophy alongside Graham himself. Graham is delighted that everyone has been acknowledged and no one has been left out, and says he'll be celebrating tonight with a pizza, watching 24 Hours in police custody with his wife, actor Hannah Walters. Listen in.
Just so happy and so full of gratitude for the ensemble, for the piece itself as a whole, as a collective. And the fact I'll let Jack say what he's been saying, but just that fact that there's not one specific person or there's not one specific thing, but each element has been acknowledged. And to be a part of such a wonderful ensemble, to me, is what it's all about. And it's just so beautiful that the whole thing as a collective has been acknowledged. And there's not one of us singled out, and there's not one of us that stand alone, because we began this as a collective, as a team. And we developed our own kind of collective consciousness, if I'm honest. You know, I don't want to go too... If you treat people with love, respect, care, dignity, and kindness, and you love what you do, and you bring out the best in your people, you don't need to be a tyrant. You don't need to shout. You don't need to have this kind of hierarchical structure. Everybody is there because they deserve to be there and they want to be there. And ultimately, you get the best from the team.
That's all for today. Thanks for watching the World Report. Until next time, this is Priyanka Deo signing off. Namaste.
Dealing with my lot means making smart choices. And with our family growing, I want to protect the life we've built. That's why I'm calling Smart Insurance.
Hi, I'd like a quick quote, please.
OK, you can choose a benefit amount up to £750,000 depending on your age.
Brilliant.
If you're a UK resident aged 18 to 64, you can apply with just a few health and lifestyle questions. For £250,000 of cover, the price starts at just £14.77 a month.
That's less than I thought, and could help my husband pay off the mortgage.
With our Smart Family Guarantee, you'll have peace of mind.
I'll go ahead.
You'll also receive a 100% advance in the event of terminal illness and 10% cashback on your first year's premiums. That's the Smart Cashback. Plus, you get your choice of a £125 gift card.
Protect the life you've built the smart way. To get a free life insurance quote today, call our specialist UK team on 0800 977 5753 or visit smartinsurance.co.uk.
Sometimes it's the little things that remind us of them. Stay close, even when you're far apart. Send money worldwide with Remitly.
Discover the finest quality made-to-measure window dressings, exclusively online, delivered direct to your door. Shop now for an extra 20% off and free delivery at blindsdirect.co.uk.
Get that lucky cow feeling with luckycowbingo.com/bingo. The site that's bursting with beautiful bingo games. That's luckycowbingo.com/bingo.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Children affected by the war in Ukraine still need our help. Homes, schools and hospitals have been destroyed. UNICEF is still providing life-saving supplies and vital services. £25 could help provide emergency supplies like safe water, maternity kits or essential vaccines. Search UNICEF Ukraine or text Ukraine to 84903 and help children caught up in this terrible war today.
Fatoon, Leolida and Monica are caught in the biggest global hunger crisis of the 21st century. Millions of children all over the world are going hungry because of conflict, displacement and extreme weather. We urgently need your help to fight acute hunger and malnutrition. Please search Save the Children or visit savethechildren.org.uk to give £5 a month. Your £5 a month can help us give hungry families life-saving food and provide malnourished children the treatment they need to recover. No child should go hungry, so please donate today. Search Save the Children or visit savethechildren.org.uk to give £5 a month. Thank you.
When facts are fragmented, we put the pieces together. Where power collides with truth, we are there.
Behind me is that massive security arrangements that are in place.
Behind fractured boundaries, we clear the fog of war. Fault Lines with Gauri Dwivedi, only on NDTV World.
You're watching India Global with me, Arjun Samar Mahendran, and here are the headlines this Wednesday. Accused NRI driver from Canada arrested in iconic 114-year-old marathon runner Fauja Singh's hit-and-run case. Canada's Alberta province seeks terror label for Lawrence Bishnoi gang, cites group's growing influence across Canada. Bangladesh in the process of demolishing iconic filmmaker Satyajit Ray's ancestral house, despite New Delhi's offer to convert it into a museum. Donald Trump makes another big comment on India trade deal, claims Washington is close to securing total access into Indian markets. And India bolsters security along Pakistan border, New Delhi to get 3 Apache helicopters from US next week. top focus this Wednesday on India global viewers. In a major breakthrough in the veteran marathoner Fauja Singh hit-and-run case, the Punjab police have arrested one Amritpal Singh Dhillon late Tuesday. Now, he's been identified as a non-resident Indian or an NRI. Amritpal Singh was arrested in Kartarpur, which happens to be his hometown. Now, Dhillon has recently returned from Canada and was the one driving the SUV at the time of the incident. Dhillon admitted that 114-year-old Fauja Singh was in fact hit by his car in Jalandhar. He also told police that the accident happened while he was returning home after selling his phone in Bhogpur on Monday afternoon. Now, since the car was moving at a high speed, it hit Singh. Amritpal Singh fled the scene as he got scared, he told the police. Meanwhile, Singh's fellow runners in East London remember him. Here's a report.
Here in East London, it is as if Fauja Singh never left. This is where he lived for the last nearly 35 years of his life, in Ilford in East London. He started his days very early, dressed up very well, walked always, never took public transport, walked from point A to point B, because that way he could stop at many places, meet many people, have a chat, have a cup of chai.
This Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m. On Punjab Radio, I play Babaji's favorite song, Gaddiyan Wali Taro.
At 114 years of age, Fauja Singh's days began here, at the London East Gurudwara, where he walked to from home. Ajmer Singh's eyes well up at the thought that the everyday visits at his Victoria motor garage by one familiar friendly face will disappear. This means no chai with Fauja Singh each morning, no wise conversations on life anymore.
I think wisdom, I think he gave you sort of confidence, That's what we see.
Do you miss him?
Of course.
Gurudwaras in London offered a special prayer for the turbaned tornado, the oldest marathon runner from London, who died in a road accident in India on the 14th of July. Sikhs in the city are creating a running club in his name in Ilford, in East London.
He began his day, he will get up in the morning, get ready, and he was not a normal person. He will not leave his house without getting all his clothes, brand new clothes, every morning, matching ties, suit, shirt, turban, and even the shoes. The man was a legend. That's the only word you can. He will always be smiling, very charitable. Money have no value for him.
The runner inspired many, like Baljit Singh, to start a running program for young people across the world.
And we will now be running as a legacy for Fauja Singh. So what you're looking at there is a certificate which we did many, many years ago, and he signed each one.
So Fauja Singh inspired you to start Fauja Singh 5K?
Yes.
Okay. And how many people run this 5K? And how long do they take to train to run 5K?
Right,
Children?
okay. So when we're in Canada, right, there are children, and the ages range from 7 upwards, up to the age of 21, because it's a camp, it's actually a youth camp.
He says Fauja Singh inspired many women too, to walk more, exercise more. Fauja Singh shot to fame in 2004 when Adidas signed him for the Impossible is Nothing campaign, which was also featuring the likes of Muhammad Ali at the time. In 2012, Fauja Singh at 101 was invited to be the torchbearer of the 2012 Olympics.
Fauja Singh looked very frail, but he was fierce in his conviction. His face full of sincerity, his heart full of positive energy, and his conversations with locals here in East London full of wisdom, full of life. From people that I met, some who were family, some who were just friends, his co or fellow walkers and runners, say that it's not just the Sikh community that he lit up with his wisdom and with his example of a life, but he lit up a generation. And Forja Singh will live on for many, many years. Radhika Iyer in East London, NDTV.
Shifting focus to Canada, where in a strong push for national security, Alberta has joined British Columbia in urging the federal government to label the India-based Lauren Bishnoi gang as a terrorist organization. Premier Daniel Smith and Public Safety Minister Mike Ellis say the gang is dangerous transnational network involved in extortion, targeted killings and even drug trafficking right here in the heart of Canada. Now, the move comes amid rising concerns about threat to South Asian communities in Alberta, British Columbia and even Ontario. Meanwhile, Edmonton's interim police chief backs the call, saying the step would give police powerful new tools to dismantle such networks. Now, Alberta is sending a clear message. You are not welcome here. Federal action could very well unlock stronger law enforcement powers, which will be essential in fighting a gang whose global ties are now hitting Canadian streets. Meanwhile, my colleague Maha Siddiqui gets you this report from Ground Zero.
So the first question with regards to what crimes have they been accused of in Canada, I remember there was a firing outside singer AP Dillon's house here in Canada. That was linked to the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, and the killing last year of a gangster here in Canada itself was also linked to inter-gang rivalry here in Canada, in which the Lawrence Bishnoi gang's name came up. This is apart from the fact that the Premier of British Columbia around 2 weeks ago had said that there have been threats and extortion calls to a lot of businessmen, business people rather, the business community, not just in British Columbia, but also in Ontario and Alberta. And he linked those to these gangsters, specifically the Lawrence Bishnoi gang, saying he's writing to Prime Minister Mark Carney, asking the Lawrence Bishnoi gang to be listed as a terrorist organization, which now the Alberta Premier Daniel Smith, as well as the Public Safety Minister, has also said they've been backed by the interim Edmonton Police Chief as well. And here's where the answer to your second question comes. He says that this will provide them more tools as well as more power to act against crimes of this nature, crimes that are now spilling out on the streets in certain parts in Canada, especially where there is a high proportion of South Asian community. And this is a matter of public security now that both Alberta and British Columbia want to be tackled at the federal level.
Now, in Southeast Asia, West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee has said that eminent filmmaker Satyajit Ray's ancestral home in Dhaka is being demolished by Bangladeshi authorities. However, the government of India has stepped up to cooperate with the government of Bangladesh to repair and reconstruct the ancestral property. Now, the centuries-old property in Dhaka's Hori Kishore Ray Chaudhary Road belonged to Ray's grandfather, the renowned literateur Upendra Kishore Ray Chaudhary. In response, India has offered to step in and work with Bangladesh to in fact restore and preserve the historic site. Recognizing its cultural significance and deep ties to the Bengal Renaissance, in fact, New Delhi has proposed turning the property into a museum, celebrating literature and the shared heritage of both nations. Now, as the demolition work continues to be underway, even as we get you this report, the Indian government has said it would prefer a reconsideration of the demolition and is ready to cooperate fully in restoring the landmark. Meanwhile, my colleague Saurabh gets you the latest on this.
Well, the reports of Satyajit Ray's ancestral house in Moimansingh in Bangladesh being demolished has come as a shock to fans and followers of the legendary filmmaker. Because not only is this house about Satyajit Ray, in fact, Satyajit Ray says that, he wanted to use pictures of that house on a project but couldn't do so because of the dilapidated condition. However, it has a very close link to Upendra Kishore Roy Chaudhary, who's also an icon, and therefore, with this house being demolished, this has led to an outcry and calls for restoration. Now, the government of India has stepped in. The government of India has offered to help in the restoration in Bangladesh, but many are also questioning the timing of this move. While the building is in a dilapidated condition and legitimately could pose a safety risk, the question is, it follows a pattern of incidents that have been described as disturbing. And this begins with, let's say, in February 2025, when Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's ancestral house, which was a museum dedicated to the liberation struggle of Bangladesh, was burnt down by a mob. Then, in June, Rabindranath Tagore's place in Shirajganj was also targeted. And now you have Satyajit Ray's ancestral home in Mumbai being demolished. Interestingly, this is what is being called or described as perhaps an attempt at cultural cleansing, as radical and hardline groups strengthen their hold and gain stronghold in Bangladesh politics. And that's something that perhaps everyone's talking about, while the Bangladesh government says that it poses a safety risk and a concrete structure will replace the structure to house activities that took place there, to host activities that took place there. However, the sense one gets, at least those watching from outside, is that this is some sort of cultural revisionism and cultural cleansing that's taking place in Bangladesh.
Well, over in Yemen, the execution of Nimisha Priya has been postponed, with hectic parleys underway in the country in a last-ditch effort to, in fact, save the nurse from Kurla, who was sentenced to death by local authorities for killing the man who was harassing her. Priya's execution was scheduled for today. However, this does not mean she would be released or be sent back to India. She is currently in Sana'a, the Houthi-held capital of Yemen. India, for perspective, does not have any diplomatic relations with the Houthi rebels. Listen in, meanwhile, to what her lawyer has to say. Meanwhile, the Indian embassy in Iran has issued a travel advisory urging Indian nationals to avoid non-essential travel to the country. The advisory comes amid rising security concerns in the region over the past several weeks, as we have been seeing tensions simmering in the larger West Asia region, viewers. Now, the embassy also has advised to continue monitoring the latest regional developments and follow update advisories issued by Indian authorities. Now, for Indian nationals currently in Iran who wish to return, they may very well avail the commercial flight and ferry options which have been made available. And where it's time we step into a short break, much more on the other side.
No child should suffer the torture of trachoma, but so many are in pain right now. Nananga's lashes have turned inwards. They rip and tear away at his eyes. Pomelo's sight could be gone forever. He's just 3 years old. Kofanga screams for his mother. His eyes are so infected that he can't even see her. For so many children in the world's poorest countries, trachoma is torture. It's a painful infection often spread by flies, and it's destroying children's eyesight. But it could be stopped if you help today. By calling 0800 021 3925 and giving £2 a month to Sightsavers, you can help make sure children get the treatment they desperately need. You'll help us bring them the medicines and the care that can treat infections. And that means you'll be helping to save children from the torture of trachoma and a life of blindness. Please help us reach them. Call 0800 021 3925, text C7 to 82727, or go online and give just £2 a month now. Because we need you to help save the sight of children like Nananga. We need you to help save them from the torture of trachoma.
With Post Office Over 50s life cover, enjoy peace of mind knowing your family will receive a guaranteed payout when you're gone. UK resident 50 to 80, you're guaranteed acceptance. No health checks and from just £1.15 a week. plus free 24/7 GP access with the health and wellbeing benefit. Purchase and receive a £125 gift card for amazon.co.uk, Tesco or M&S. Call Post Office on 0800 171 2211.
Don't miss Sharp's half-price summer sale. Get Sharp's bespoke fitted furniture for every room, from living spaces to home offices and bedrooms. Many ranges are now half price, including our best-selling shaker range. Our exclusive Space Plus system means we won't be beaten on space. Plus, you get our 15-year guarantee for total peace of mind. Don't miss Sharp's half-price summer sale. Book your free home design visit today at sharps.co.uk.
How long's it been then? We met about 8 years back. What? Yeah, serious relationship.
He has this way of looking into my eyes.
Knows how to treat me. Gentle, considerate.
Did I tell you he owns his own business?
I think he's going to pop the question.
Better or worse?
Better.
Our opticians and audiologists own their stores, so your care is their business, which can make them rather popular.
Apparently, he's seeing half the town.
Book an appointment today.
Welcome back. You're watching India Global. Viewers, India's firepower is getting a major boost. 3 deadly Apache AH-64E attack helicopters are set to arrive from the US next week. They'll be landing at the Hindon Air Force Station on the 21st of July. Dubbed tanks in the air, these advanced choppers will be deployed along the Pakistan border, enhancing frontline surveillance and offensive strike capabilities. Now, by the way, this delivery is part of a $600 million deal signed during US President Donald Trump's iconic visit to India back in 2020. That's right, with state-of-the-art targeting, night vision and even all-weather combat systems, Apaches are in fact built for precision and power. Meanwhile, 2 IAF squadrons are already active in Pathankot and the Jorat regions. The Army too received its first Apache from the Tata Boeing facility last year. Now, with 3 more arriving, India is poised to sharpen its edge on the northern frontier with Pakistan. And NDTV's managing editor Shiv Arur joins us for more on this. Shiv, first of all, what strategic advantage do exactly these new Apaches have to offer specifically along the Pakistan front?
Well, the Apache is quite simply the most advanced, most feared, most formidable attack helicopter in existence. It's a helicopter that has seen a huge amount of combat, I dare say possibly the most amount of combat of any attack helicopter in existence, barring perhaps the Mi-35 of the Russians. This is a helicopter that is not only armed with long-range weapons that are capable of destroying tanks and bunkers and vehicles and that kind of thing, but it has what is perhaps the most advanced attack electronics capability in existence on any attack helicopter. It's called the longbow system. It's a fire control radar system that makes the Apache capable of targeting, engaging and destroying targets from beyond the horizon, from behind a hill. That makes this a weapon system and a weapons platform that is feared even when it cannot be seen, and that's the scary thing about it. Like you rightly said, the Indian Air Force already has 2 squadrons worth of these incredibly advanced helicopters built by Boeing. The Indian Army had placed an order for 6 of these helicopters back in 2020. They've been delayed by over a year now. The squadron, in fact, was raised last year in Jodhpur in Rajasthan. The helicopters will be arriving about 15 months late, owing to many different complications, from supply chain disruptions to the Ukraine war and many other issues, which is quite unusual for the supply chain between India and the United States. But as they say, der aaye durust aaye, and that's the reason why the Indian Army will be very happy to welcome these helicopters. The Indian Army, the Indian military have just been involved in an audacious mission which was called Operation Sindoor against Pakistan, where Indian assets performed incredibly well. But every new asset, especially something as advanced as an Apache, adding to our forces is always very welcome. And like Rajiv Ranjan, our reporter, has brought us those details, these will be, of course, be prowling the border areas of the India-Pakistan border, and they will have very, very formidable mission profiles over there. Important last word is that the fuselage of the Apaches are built in Telangana by the Tatas. So all of these helicopters entering service with the Indian Army are, partially made in India. The entire body of the helicopter is actually manufactured and fabricated right here in this country. So a bit of good news there as far as foreign mal entering the Indian military.
Well, thanks for putting things into perspective for our viewers there, Shiv. And of course, all eyes will be on the 21st of July. But shifting focus for now over to Washington, where President Donald Trump has said the U.S. is now close to securing a full trade access to India. Now, this is something he claims America has never had before. We're going to have access to India, Trump said Tuesday. We had no access into any of these countries. Now we do because of what we are doing with tariffs. The president did not give full details, however, but he framed it as a major breakthrough, adding that past U.S. administrations have repeatedly failed to open Indian markets. Now, viewers, India is a fast-growing economy and has a key player in tech, manufacturing and even pharmaceuticals. Full trade access would mean huge opportunities for American businesses. Now, Trump has also hinted more deals are coming, saying access to global markets is in fact being unlocked one by one. My colleague Sakshi Bajaj brings you more.
We're going to have trade access into India. That's the big comment from US President Donald Trump at the moment. However, as far as India is concerned, the negotiations between India and the US for a proposed trade agreement are going on at a fast pace, Commerce Minister Piyush Goyal has recently said. And a win-win agreement complementing both nations can take effect. So, as the negotiations really are underway, sources are also suggesting India is closely monitoring potential tariff differentials that could emerge vis-a-vis other countries as well. While the India-US trade deal is in wait-and-watch mode, remember India has drawn a clear red line on the access to India's dairy and agriculture sector. These are not just trade lines, they are cultural and political red lines. And really what's at stake here is the livelihood of millions of Indian farmers really, and the government's food and energy self-reliance goals.
In a sharp warning Tuesday, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte has said countries like China, India and Brazil could in fact face crippling secondary sanctions if they keep doing business with Russia. That's correct. Now, Rutte was speaking on Capitol Hill after meeting with US senators. He said the message is clear: call Putin, push for peace or face the fallout. Now, the warning follows President Trump's announcement of massive new weapon support for Ukraine and a bold 50-day ultimatum to Russia. If there's no peace deal, buyers of Russian exports could face up to 100% tariffs. That's correct. Senator Tom Tillis praised the move but raised red flags over the 50-day delay, saying it could very well give Putin time to murder, gain ground, and then bargain from strength all over again. Meanwhile, Rutte emphasized Europe is all in, footing the bill for the new US weapons, from air defenses to missiles and even ammunition this time. Meanwhile, final decisions on long-range weapons are still in the works. Now, this marks a sharp global escalation and comes as a clear message to Moscow's top trading partners.
If Russia is not serious about peace talks, within 50 days, he will slam secondary sanctions on countries like India, China and Brazil. So my encouragement to these three countries particularly is, if you live now in Beijing or in Delhi, or you are the president of Brazil, you might want to take a look into this, because this might hit you very hard. So please make the phone call to Vladimir Putin and tell him that he has to get serious about peace talks, because otherwise this will slam back on Brazil, on India and on China in a massive way.
In a significant development following the global controversy over Prada's Kolhapuri-inspired sandals, a high-level team from the luxury fashion house has arrived in Kolhapur to initiate groundwork for a potential